Imagine someone whose ideas could challenge not just a city or a nation, but the very foundation of how people thought, lived, and governed. His influence has lasted for over 2,000 years, changing the course of history and thought forever. He wasn't a king, yet his teachings rule over countless minds today. Who was this man? Join us on a journey to uncover the life of one of history's greatest thinkers. Plato was born around 427 BC in Athens, a city renowned for its rich intellectual and political culture. Coming from an aristocratic family, he was expected to follow in the footsteps of military and political life. Yet something deeper stirred within him. Growing up in the shadow of war, civil unrest, and shifting governments, young Plato began to question what justice and truth really meant. These formative experiences fueled a lifelong quest to understand not only the nature of the world, but also the best way to live within it. Plato was well versed in poetry and rhetoric from a young age, two arts that were highly esteemed in Athenian society. However, his philosophical calling became clearer once he crossed paths with the man who would change his life forever: Socrates. Socrates, the gadfly of Athens, was notorious for his relentless questioning of accepted wisdom. Plato, then a young man in search of answers, became deeply influenced by Socrates' teachings. Unlike traditional sophists, Socrates didn't offer knowledge for a price, but instead invited his students to question everything. This relationship became the cornerstone of Plato's thought. Socrates' method of dialogue, which emphasized questioning to uncover deeper truths, profoundly affected Plato. Through Socratic dialogues, Plato saw that wisdom wasn't about having all the answers, but about pursuing truth relentlessly, even when the answers weren't easy or comfortable. When Socrates was executed in 399 BC for allegedly corrupting the youth and disrespecting the gods, Plato was disillusioned with democracy and driven to find a better system of governance and ethics. In 387 BC, Plato founded the Academy, often regarded as the first institution of higher learning in the Western world. Located just outside the walls of Athens, the Academy became a sanctuary for deep thinking, where students could engage in discussions about mathematics, astronomy, politics, and philosophy. Here, Plato would teach and develop his most influential ideas, particularly his theory of forms, which argued that the material world was just a shadow of the true reality, eternal and unchanging ideals. Many of the greatest minds of the time passed through the doors of the Academy, including Aristotle, who would go on to become a towering philosopher in his own right. But it was Plato's Republic that captured his vision for an ideal society, governed not by politicians or the masses, but by philosopher kings, those who could see beyond the chaos of the everyday world to grasp the higher truths necessary for true justice. Plato's Republic laid out his most radical vision: a society ruled by wisdom rather than wealth or popularity. In this ideal state, philosopher kings would be the rulers, as only they had the knowledge and virtue required to lead. He proposed a system where the rulers, warriors, and producers each had their own role, and where individuals were placed in these roles based on their abilities rather than their birth. It was a meritocracy of sorts, though one that would remain largely theoretical. The Republic wasn't just a political treatise, it also delved into ethics, psychology, and education. Plato envisioned an education system that would teach children not just facts, but also virtues. His ideas have deeply influenced how we view education and justice today. Plato believed that philosophers trained to understand the forms, especially the form of the good, could achieve the wisdom necessary to guide society. In his later works, such as the Laws, Plato softened some of his earlier ideas, but remained committed to his belief in the pursuit of wisdom. The Academy continued to operate long after his death, and his writings would influence countless generations of philosophers, including Christian, Jewish, and Islamic scholars during the Middle Ages and later Renaissance thinkers. Plato's ideas on politics, metaphysics, and epistemology laid the groundwork for Western thought. His dialogues are still studied today as foundational texts in philosophy. Plato's concept of a world of forms, his belief in philosopher kings, and his examination of justice are still highly relevant in modern discourse. Plato's legacy endures as one of the most influential figures in human history. His works not only shaped the world of ancient Greece, but also continue to inspire modern thought across the globe. If you found this journey through the life of Plato insightful, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon for more deep dives into history's greatest thinkers. Thanks for watching.